are some of the most common questions that a soap maker gets? Let's talk about that. Hi, welcome to Komodo Art Soaps. I am Liz, the head soap maker here at Komodo Art Soaps, and I have created all the lovely soaps you see behind me here. You can find them in my shop. I have the link down below in my description. But let's get back to that main question. What is the most common question that we get as soap makers? I'll start with the top one that I get most often, which is, why is homemade soap so much more expensive? There's a lot of things that go into that. We're just going to talk about a few of them. We're going to talk about size. We're going to talk about the ingredients. We're going to talk about the art, and we're going to talk about the sustainability. So let me show you the soap that my husband buys on the regular, which is just a regular bar of Dove soap. Okay, I don't have anything against store-bought soap, so I'm not going to preach against them. But I will say his soap is much cheaper. And he doesn't use just Dove, so I am not just picking on Dove soap. We use anything from Irish Spring to Zest to Ivory. It's gonna get you clean, and you can't say anything bad about that. And it's much cheaper than what you're buying here. But what you're buying with homemade soap is often a luxury product. Sometimes the luxury levels differ, and that's why it's good to be an informed buyer. But let's talk about what's in this bar versus what's in that bar. This bar is a hybrid bar. It is half detergents and half soap. So the very first ingredient is a detergent. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's sodium lauryl isethionate. You can correct me on that if you'd like. But it also does contain soap. How do I know? Because it lists ingredients such as sodium tallowate, which is saponified fats of either pig, sheep, or beef. Now, most people will tell you that sodium lardate is pig and sodium tallowate is beef or sheep. But if you ask the big companies that put it on their label, they do not differentiate between pig or beef and sheep. So you need to know that if you are someone who does not believe in using pork products. Sodium palmitate, that is palm oil. So some people don't like to use that because they have concerns about deforestation, sustainability. There are now sustainable sources of palm oil, but some people have problems with that because they think, well, it's sustainable now after the deforestation. That's up for debate, and that's something that as a buyer you should be aware of and have your own opinions on when purchasing. This bar here will not tell you whether they use the animal fats or the palm oil. They say or. So it's sodium tallowate or sodium palmitate. And you don't know which one you're getting. So if you're vegan, you don't know if this soap is going to fit your vegan lifestyle or not. So it's all about being an informed consumer, if you even care that much about what you're putting on your body. Let's talk about some of the ingredients that aren't in here. Glycerin is not in here. When you buy a bar of milled soap from a commercial entity, they oftentimes will cook it at a high heat and pressure squeeze out the naturally occurring glycerin from the saponification process. I can't do that with my soap. So the glycerin, which is a humectant and draws moisture to your body, it's still in my soap. With these soaps, they take it all out because it's actually more valuable than the soap that they are making. They will put a little bit of the glycerin back in sometimes, and then they will sell the rest of the glycerin separately at a higher cost. But with homemade soap, all that lovely glycerin is still in your bar, and it's wonderful. The other thing that you won't find in many of the cheap bars of soap are special additives, such as aloe juice, which I often use in my soap. Butters, I use unrefined cocoa butter and unrefined shea butter. I believe that they've got some benefits that are good for the skin. They lend a light smell to the soap. I love the way that they make the lather feel. And it's just a more high-end luxury product than what you're going to get with Dove Bar. Now, you can find high-end butters in store-bought soap, and those soaps will be more expensive. The other thing that you're going to find in homemade soaps are additives such as goat's milk, honey, beeswax, colloidal oatmeal, pine tar. These things have certain benefits and characteristics that are soothing to the skin or calming to the skin or even drying to the skin. If you put natural clays into a soap, it can help dry out oily skin. There's all sorts of things that people put into their homemade soaps to help benefit you. The other thing that affects the cost of soap is the art that's put into it. Now, I don't want to bash this bar of Dove, so let me show you. They've put a cute stamp on it. They've labeled it. They've colored it. They've used a shape that is comfortable for the hand. So this company has thought about the art of its product. So I'm not going to knock it on that sense, okay? But when you look at a homemade soap maker, we often see each bar as a special work of art. We might create something that looks like a flower or like an ocean wave or a gemstone. We might try to go for a rustic look, making it look like cement or making it look like bubbles. There's all sorts of things that we try to do with soap. And I am by far not the most talented soap artist out there. I encourage you to look into the world of soap art. It is amazing what some of these people are creating with soap. So when you're buying a little piece of art, you're going to pay a little more for it. And a lot of people say, well, why would I want art in my soap? I'm just going to use it to wash myself in the shower and it's going to disappear. It's the same thing as buying a bouquet of flowers. You know they're going to die and go in the garbage, but it's a moment of beauty. Right? And what better way to incorporate beauty into your life than in the everyday practical objects that you're using? And some people collect art soap. Soap can last for centuries. And if you've ever looked up vintage figural soaps on eBay, you'll see that they are collector's items. So maybe the soap you're buying today will be the collector's item next year. Who knows? Another thing is sustainability. So like I mentioned, the palm oil. Some soapers do not like to soap with palm oil. Some soapers like to use all organic ingredients or all vegan ingredients. I am not a vegan soap maker. I use lard. I use lard because pig fat, I know it sounds gross, doesn't it? But it's one of the closest substances to the human skin. So it's very, very good for human skin. It also creates a very rich conditioning lather. So that's why I use it. I also use it because I eat bacon, and pig fat is a naturally occurring side item from creating bacon and pork. So I like to use something that is just going to be there anyway. They don't have to create pigs just to make lard for me. They're creating pigs for other purposes, and the lard is a byproduct that I put to good use. The other reason to buy homemade soap and to pay extra is to support small business and to have more control over what you're putting into your lifestyle. If you're supporting a small business in your local area, you're building community and you are supporting the people in your community and helping them build livelihoods, helping them to pursue their artistic and creative desires. And you're just getting to experience a little more of the network of your own local area. So I recommend that people at least try it and see if they like it. But it's a good thing to be informed on what you're buying and really decide if the price is worth it. Because I will say this, not all soap makers at your farmer's market actually make their own soap. A lot of them will buy it wholesale from large soap making companies. So it's always good to know what questions to ask when you're buying soap. But that's another video. So next up, I will give you a list of things to ask your soap maker and why you should ask them. So come back next week and I'll give you that list. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this video.